Hello and welcome to this update to Blitpaint, where I've been working on some of the Commodore 64 shader type features. So as we just get into the Commodore mode, first thing you want to do is fill it with a backdrop, and that just makes sure that the algorithm works right when it does the limitation checking. So I'm just going to paint some tones here, and yeah, I'm going to break the rules of limitation just by putting a lot of tones in here. Now when I press tab, again this will become a button later on, but maybe have a little scan tab here, and it's told me there's 3 bad sectors here, right? So I can go down and check them out, and I can see that there's 1, 2, 3, 4 colours here. That's fine, that one. Sometimes it gets it wrong. And it might just be some refinement I need to do with everything, but this one definitely wrong. Now you can't correct this part, you have to correct it here. And 1, 2, yeah, I can get rid of some more tones. Now I do have more tones than the background included, so I'll get rid of that. That should now be fine. If I press tab again, it's actually running through it as the cursor disappears. It says we've got 1 bad block. See, that one was actually false. I have no idea why it does this, but yeah, it just kind of gets it wrong sometimes. You need to do a couple of passes. And now my throat is like stupidly fucked, so I'm gonna do that again. And eventually everything's gone back to normal. Okay, so we've cleaned up those bad blocks. So they don't always show up correct at first. So I'm going to paint away some more here. Just imagine you're making a really nice piece of art and you accidentally break the limitation rules. So I know this is fine, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, but I'll do a scan anyway, just in case it decides to flag something. And it's flagged this one up. Okay, so yeah, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 tones, and remember the background tones kind of fixed, so we've got 1, 2, 3, so I need to decide which one to change. So I'll just paint in brown here. And now that's better, no bad blocks. Tells me what the main colour is based on the most abundant colour, which is kind of makes sense, right? Maybe there's different algorithms for that later, but that's what I want. Make this kind of birdie. Let's do a scan on it. Got a bad block here. 1, 2, 3, 4, yeah, 5 tones. Let's go for this light blue and replace the brown. And just do a scan right after. The scan process does take a little while because it has to analyze each block, compare them with the colors, and yeah, it also tells you the color read here of this whole piece. We can come out of this mode by right clicking and we're back to normal. The scan thing doesn't work here. We can go back to choosing regular old brushes. I'll quite like to look at this one, and yeah, you can paint as normal. Right, so you're not restricted to Commodore mode completely. I'm going to undo all this junk. You can see I can go straight back into Commodore mode, do a scan again, and hopefully, yep, so it's found a bad block here. Yeah, we've got a bad block. I must have re-undid that. But everything's looking good. There might be the odd bug here and there that crops up. Sometimes you just have to do a couple of scans at the start and that's it, back to some kind of normality. It does seem a bit wasteful to do a scan every time I do a block change. So 1, 2, yeah, so I'm using one more than the background colour, so I'm going to change these browns because they're kind of the closest tone. Now there's no automatic change just yet, but I'll look into that soon, and then maybe have an algorithm here where you can say automatically change this tone for this one and so on, where you can actually click and choose them. Would be cool, but it all depends on what you're making. Let's add a few little spiky things. And we can add a nice gradient to the backdrop as well. Let's go for the big gradient. And I'm going to choose my 2 tones, mode 3. And I'm just going to blob this guy down. Let's just do stamp mode just to make sure. This will really test it. Now I want to paint in the background behind this guy. And there we go, and let's just paint in some more blue tones for the body here. Let's turn off that stamp mode. So this blue is my very forgiving colour because it is the most abundant one, but that can easily change. If I do go over the mark with a certain colour, it's going to swap that out for the background. So that is another thing that could be defined. This is a very early working version of this, but it doesn't mean it's fully functional. There's a lot of functions missing. Right, so let's see how that looks. Let's scan it. And we got a couple of bad blocks here. So black, cyan. Let's swap the cyan for the blue. And this one, decisions, black. Yeah, we've got 4 over and above the background. Quite like the red. I guess the cyan needs to go again. Just too bad. I mean, I don't want to lose the red, I don't want to lose the black. But that seems to be clear. You can press G to toggle the grid and it will hide the overlay there. This is a 1:1 size. And I guess when you're happy with everything, you can export this out and, you know, turn it into a PRG or whatever. I use a thing called Gang2ED, I think it is. Let's put a few tones in here. If you start deviating from the tones too much, it will pick up false values, but there is a kind of little algorithm in the background that tries to work out the closest colour you're trying to make, because sometimes the colours can fall just a slight bit in the software, you know, maybe like a value or two. Let's just scan that. Yeah, all good. So there we have it. We've got it working Commodore mode, and got the little memory block. I can press enter here and it will redraw everything. I'll go through all the steps that I went through, even all the other stuff. But yeah, also you can enable parallax mode, you see it's a little bit kind of weird because I drew some of the background on this layer. You only see it in this view, you don't see it in this one. That's a combined layer. So it's all the layers just merged into one that doesn't move. And this one kind of does. And yeah, it will break the rules here as well, because you will get slight overlaps with other colours. But that's just for fun. So I'm just going to press parallax again to come out of that. So hope you enjoy using Blitpaint. It's free, and working on the Commodore sort of side of things quite heavily. We'll see how far I get before I decide that you guys have broke me with too much demand. But they'll say you can now use this to make some nice bitmap stuff, and whether it replaces stuff that you used before, I have no idea. But check it out. Thanks for watching. Bye.